Country Club is coming. November 14th, London. Mark your diary. See you there, you f***ing tart.
You know, dreams do come true. Reality sets in. You know, we're here.
Boxing King Media. I don't know how we've managed to spawn ourselves from Sheffield to Dubai, Kell, with Kell Brook. Who would have ever thought Kell Brook is back in the desert?
Back in the desert, what can I say? We're here, it's happening. I'm in Dubai. I'm in the venue where the fight's going to be. And yeah, I'm excited.
Obviously, there's so many questions that people are going to be wondering why, when, how, all these crazy questions. But I think the first thing we've got to highlight is the people that have put this event together. You know, the people that are in charge of the venue, the agenda in Dubai. It's in Media City, amazing venue, crazy setup you've just seen in there. You've just seen where you're going to be making that ring walk, where the press conference is tonight. What are you thinking about the venue and just the setup here?
I think it's a beautiful setup. You know, I've just been into the venue, brilliant venue. You know what I mean? It's the lights, the stage, everything is on point. It looks really good.
You fought at all the venues around the world. You know what I mean? You fought in America, you fought all over the UK, and in fact your last fight was like bloody 20,000 people. I think there was more than 20,000 people, because some of the seats, there were like 3 people sat on some of them ringside seats.
Yeah.
I don't know who'll be selling them tickets, but you've gone from that to another crazy venue. When you walked in there earlier, I saw you looking around like, you know, I could see you thinking, shit, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna walk out. What did you kind of feel imagining walking out at the agenda?
I was looking round, you know, this is what I do, you know, it's all I've done, you know, since I was a little kid, and I was just looking round, you know, I'm thinking, yeah, we're here again, you know, it's going to be another day in the office, you know, I'm excited, you know, I believe I were built for this, you know, and it's going to be exciting to get back in some hard training and having that routine, and you know, and having that goal, you know, of February 13th for getting in there and displaying my skills once more, and showing the fans, you know, what I'm about again.
We've been talking about it for so long. Every time, like, you know, you're at a show and someone's like, Kell Brook, come back, when you coming back, when you coming back? I don't know, obviously this has all happened by chance. Obviously mainly on the back end of unfortunately what happened to Ricky Hatton. So I think that's the first kind of subject I think I want to cover before we go into detail about the fight and how you got the call, etc. So I know Ricky was a really good friend of yours. I know you went to the funeral as well. You know, this fight is in support of the Ricky Hatton Foundation, which has been set up to support people who are suffering, you know, with mental health. You know, if anyone wants to talk to anyone, you know, reach out to the Ricky Hatton Foundation. They've got an Instagram page already set up that's doing some good numbers, etc. Obviously, with what happened with Ricky, and it kind of drew me back to when me and you spoke a couple of years ago, and you know, when you was contemplating retirement, and I think one of the things he said to me, it still sticks with me till this day. I think the words were, I feel empty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you could probably resonate with what Ricky probably felt, you know.
Absolutely, you know, that's why I'm here today. Resonate 100%, you know. You know, for mental health and addiction, you know, I've been through it. You know, I know how Ricky Hatton will have been feeling in them dark times. You know, us fighters, it's hard to reach out because we're warriors, you know, sometimes. But it comes to a stage where, you know, this is what I want the people to know, that, you know, it's okay to reach out. You know, if you're in that dark place. You know, at that moment when you did that interview with me, people would look at me and, you know, they'd see me and the fame and the money and everything and think that I'd got absolutely everything, but I felt empty, you know, inside, you know, until I discovered, you know, I had to reach out and capture, you know, what needed to be done, you know, and a lot of people suffering, people, you know, like fighters for instance, you know, they train you, they get you to be champion at world, but when you retire, you know, nobody prepares you how to live a normal life, you know, and when you've been the highest of the highs like Ricky Hatton and myself, you know, and there's been some lows of the lows, you know, and boxing's been all your life, and then one day that, you know, your phone's not going and no one's phoning you to get to the gym, you know, nobody's interested, you're not fighting it, you're not fighting anymore, there's no fights anymore. It's just like you've got to discover yourself, you know, because you've lived so long as this fighter, and being in the lights, you know, and then it's all over, and just getting back to normal life. It's hard for us fighters to get back to that, you know. It's very hard, you know. A lot of pressures, you know, in this. Sometimes you run to alcohol or whatever to numb the pain, you know, numb it, and kind of brush it under the carpet, and you end up in a vicious circle, and depression. You just end up so depressed, and you know, you think, what's this all about, you know, and sometimes, you know, it's if you don't get the help what we want you to get, you know, sometimes it ends up in death.
You know, I want to touch on that a bit more, but before I do, I want to ask you, what was your greatest memory, personal memory of Ricky Hatton, where you had shared an experience together, whether it was a wild one or something boxing related?
I think obviously because he's a few years older than me, and he were my idol. He was my idol, you know, growing up, coming into the professional rankings. And when he beat Costa Zoo, it's a massive thing, you know, watching him win that and win the world title. Another massive one is, you know, before people actually knew who Floyd Mayweather was, were the Floyd Mayweather fight, you know, and the 24/7s, and watching him, you know, build up for that fight, you know. And there's been so many, the Manny Pacquiao fight, and you know, the big fights he's been in. There's been that so many, you know. He's you know, he brought 30,000 over to the Mayweather fight, you know, who had to, you know, for council estate characters, what had to generate that money and get on a plane to Vegas to watch him fight. You know, he had, his fan base were just unbelievable. And you know, he would just, even if you didn't know him, you know, you could meet Ricky Hatton and walk away, and you'd feel in your heart that he's your best friend. You know, he's just got that thing about him where he's just loved by, he's just so likable. You know, so likable he was, and you know what he did with his body shots and his ferociousness in fights. He was so exciting. He was so explosive. You know, he gave the fans a, you know, a real treat every time he fought.
Obviously, you had the pleasure of fighting his brother as well. You know, that was a great fight. You know, one of the things I said earlier, you said to me at that time a year and a bit ago that you felt empty. It seemed like you was looking for a purpose after boxing. And like you said there, you know, money and fame, all that kind of stuff, it kind of shows it doesn't always buy you that happiness, and you're a fine example of that. But obviously you're in a great place. I can see, you know, you've been smiling every time I've seen you in the last year or so. You've been smiling. You know, you said yourself, you're clean, you're sober, all that kind of stuff. So that feeling from being empty, obviously you don't feel empty right now, but what do you feel?
I feel I've got a beautiful son. You know, it's my pride and joy. You know, I'm just happy because I'm in control of my life today. You know, I'm excited. You know, I'm clear. You know, I've got a great support. You know, and everything's just, I've got a great support. You know, and I'm happy go lucky. I'm in control of my life. You know, I get out, and you know, before this fight, I get out. You know, I do things with Ebanie and my son, and you know, just see different parts of the world. I went to Australia for a month, and you know, see friends, see family. You know, getting into skiing. You know, getting on my bike, and just being happy. You know, I've found myself. You know, before I didn't. You know I didn't know what was going on, but today, you know, I've just got a purpose to live. You know, I'm in God's hands, and I feel in a very good place.
I can see that. You know, you just mentioned Ebanie there. Obviously, people are very judgmental when they see you as a couple. You know, these two famous boxers together, they've got this beautiful kid together. But you take that away and describe your relationship with you, Ebanie, and your son. What's it like? I know you've been to Australia recently. How that relationship, you know, makes you, like, you know, feel inside, and what it means to you.
You know, it's weird. You know, it's weird, but you know, she's a fantastic mom. You know, she's a ferocious fighter. You know, it's strange, you know, for me, but you know, I'm enjoying it. You know, she's so clever. She's, you know, she's
She played a big part in your, you know, you said earlier being clean and
she's played a massive part. You know, she saved my life. You know, she put me on the right path. You know, put me into the right place, the right, you know, right environment. You know, I spent a lot of time with me, talked to me. She got very knowledgeable about, you know, addiction and mental health, you know, and them darkest times when I felt so alone, she was a bright light, you know, and she got me out of that darkness, and you know, she saved my life. She saved my life, really and truthfully, you know, because she's so armed with the knowledge, and she's been through a lot of things herself in her own battles in life, and she's guided me to where I am today, you know, and that's clean and sober and living a beautiful life.
you know, that's incredible to know, you know, because like I told you earlier, people see you guys out together and you get the idiots who make judgmental comments, but behind that, if you strip it away, in your own words there, you was on a dark, lonely path, like you told me a couple of years ago, you're feeling empty. She came across and, in your own words, saved your life, and now you're here in destiny in the desert.
You know, it's been written from, you know, from God. You know, this is what's meant to be. You know, and like I said, you know, I feel mentally I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life, and it's gonna be strange going into a camp, you know, with this kind of mental attitude, and I'm excited. You know, it's gonna be 4 years around to the day, you know, and I boxed Khan to this fight with EISA, and I'm just excited to get into hard training and to deliver the best version of me, you know, and on the 13th of February.
Let's talk about EISA AL DAH, sorry. Supposed to fight Ricky Hatton. Obviously, unfortunate news about Ricky Hatton, and you got the call. And I rate EISA with this, because I was saying to Dom earlier, this guy, he wanted to still fight because his mission is to build boxing in Dubai, in the UAE. You know, he's proud of his heritage. He's been, from speaking to his team, he's been trying to build boxing in the UAE for a long time for like homegrown talent, and he could have picked another person, maybe, you know, closer to his age group, but he picked Kell Brook. Like, I don't know why he's doing that, but I would never pick Kell Brook, because.
Yeah.
So you shook hands with him earlier. How was that?
You know, he's been so respectful. You know, I don't want to get too friendly because, you know, I want to chuck a lot of shots on him. You know, and I don't want to get too friendly, but you know, it's hard to, you know, he's such a nice guy, you know, but obviously how it come about, you know, when I was in Australia and I found the devastating news of Ricky Hatton, you know, and I think I put something on Instagram, you know, close to my heart, you know, and about Ricky Hatton, and you know, and probably 5 days later, you know, I got a message off EISA. You know, I ended up getting on a call with him, and you know, he says that, you know, do I want to take this fight, you know, and something ignited inside me, you know, because I'm retired, you know, and I you know, and he explained to me, you know, it's going to be a tribute for Ricky Hatton, and it felt so right for me, you know. It just felt like it's going to be a tribute for Ricky Hatton on his and just, I just want to put it out like for mental health and addiction, you know, that, you know, it's all right to reach out and to ask for help. You know, I've been there as well, you know, and I think that's more so the reason why I'm coming back, you know. But obviously it's going to be, you know, I've retired, but, you know, as you know, as fighters, you know, it's always there, and it doesn't take a lot, you know, but I'm excited, you know, to be fighting, you know, and obviously making it a big tribute for Ricky Hatton, and it's going to be a fantastic, you know what I mean, night, you know, to dust them boxing gloves off and get back in and display my skills. You know, it's going to be a great event, and I'm so proud and happy that, you know, I'm involved in this.
Indeed, like I said there, it's worth pointing out this is for the WBC Union Belt, which the WBC have created to celebrate the event and occasion. But ultimately, it's worth pointing this out. This isn't an exhibition. You're not there to mess around. This is a professional fight, and Kell Brook delivers chocolate brownies. So
That's right.
your fans are going to want to know what you're planning to do to EISA AL DAH on February the 13th next
You know,
year.
you don't get paid for overtime in this game, you know, and this is a real fight. It's not an expedition. You know, this will be my 44th fight. It's going to go on BoxRec. You know, this is a real fight, you know, and like I said, you know, my record speaks for itself. You know, I'm going to go in there and do what I always do, and that's to deliver pain and to get the job done, what needs to be done, you know, and that's how I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to go in there. You know, I've obviously with the weeks, the build up and get myself in great shape and be ready for this fight what me and EISA have got.
It's worth letting your fans know as well. Tickets for the event, you can buy them on the Agenda Dubai website. So if you just search the Agenda Arena in Dubai, tickets are already on sale. It's February the 13th next year, which is one of the best times to come to Dubai because the weather is just perfect. And you know, the other craziest thing is obviously this venue is quite like synonymous in Dubai because the way it's lit up, the lighting, the setup, etc. I think if you watched a recent IBA show here, you'd see the stuff they had above the ring. It's madness. It's like a big circle screen. I've never seen anything like it. But you debuted at the Don Valley Stadium in 2004. And then after that, you fought at the Hotel Van Dyke in Worksop. Then you fought at the Leeds United Banqueting Suite. It must bring back memories.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make somebody understand, share something from one of them fights early on that you can remember, maybe about the changing rooms, like your kit or something so you could show your journey from that to here.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I've started from the bottom and now we're here. You know what I mean? It's just like back then you just mentioned that, put a smile on my face, you know, them, you know, the venue was there.
Well, the Hotel Van Dyke.
Yeah, it's just like obviously there's everyone in a dressing room. You know what I mean? Someone will finish a fight and then they'll chuck you gloves. You put your hand in them and they're red hot. You know, from the last fight what's been on. You know, there's people sharing groin guards with each other. It's mental. Do you know what I mean? I've even seen, you know, like fighters where they've forgot the gum shield. You know, they've took someone else's gum shield out, put hot water on and molded it to them. You know, it's like. I've seen it all from, you know, from the what the lowest level to the very, very highest, you know, and you know it's amazing, you know, like boxing is so rewarding, you know. You have some ups and you have some downs, but you know, even from the amateurs, you know, you'd have your fight and then you'd get like you get a token for your wagon wheel, a crisp and a penguin. Do you know what I mean? I used to like them days where you used to get a plastic trophy and a meal. Do you know what I mean? But that was many moons ago.
So from fighting for wagon wheels to fighting in Dubai, you couldn't make it up, could you?
You couldn't make it up.
Couldn't make it up.
You couldn't.
But that's the best thing about boxing, innit? It changes people, you know. A lad from Parsons Cross, it's Parsons Cross, innit? Or is it somewhere else?
Shirecliff.
Shirecliff, okay. Shirecliff, Parsons
Well,
Cross.
I use Parsons Cross in Shirecliff, you know, because I lived in Shirecliff, but I was always around Parsons Cross.
Yeah, so big up the people from Parsons Cross.
S5.
I think it's the biggest council estate in the UK, innit? I think. I don't know.
I'm not sure, is it?
I think I might be wrong, but it just shows where you've come from, and it's to show people, to inspire them as well. You know, you can make it. You just got to work at your dreams, and yeah, your journey's been an interesting one, man. And the last question on you, people are going to question and say, "Oh, you're shot, you're finished, you're 39 years old. You know, what is the ultimate aim here? Is it money? Is it, you know, you still feel like you got something to prove? Like, for example, if you beat this guy, is it what's next? Or would you entertain a potential Eubank Junior fight? All that kind of stuff."
I just think age is a number. Like, if you want to go down that line, look at Usyk. Usyk's about my age. He's the best in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, look at Crawford. He's at a similar age. You know what I mean? Crawford's, you know, not too many years, you know, behind me. Look at Bernard Hopkins. You know, so it's just like for myself. You know, it's like I want to see what, you know. Like I said, I want to see what I've got. I want to see there's something, you know, always burning in there, and you know, like. Kell Brook 2.0 could be back, you know what I mean? The mojo build up, you know, after this fight, you know, I could be you know, the Ignite is there, and I could be, look at Ben Eubank, you know, that could be a fight, you know. But obviously, EISA's the man in front of me today, but like I said, you know, age is just a number. I've just mentioned them other guys, what are the best in the world, you know, so I can say, like, I'm a fighter, I've done it, and I want to just test myself, and like, it's a tribute for Ricky, and I just want to see, what comes in the build up for this for me, you know, what's left in there.
Definitely, I think it's worth seeing that. So yeah, that's it really. We'll talk more as in the coming months. I'm sure we'll do some, like, you know, see your progress from, you know, I can see that you're looking decent already, and it'd be good to see what kind of shape you're in. I don't know if it was like that Rocky movie when he goes back in the gym to fight Tarver and his bones are aching and stuff like that. Did you feel any of that?
I have done. I have done, but it's early days, you know. I'll get conditioned and I'll be a wrecking ball.
There you go. We'll leave it on that. So yeah, shout out to the Radisson Blue Hotel in Media City. They've looked after us for this event. Great location. It's right next to the tram station and metro station, so you can get anywhere in Dubai. I know that's where you're staying. You happy with your stay in your hotel?
I'm happy with where I'm staying. I'm happy how I've been treated. Yeah, everything's beautiful.
Kell Brook's back officially. Thank you very much for your time, Kell.
Thank you.